teaching methodology in regards to K through 12 and teaching consent. So
We already do it implicitly, actually. In many states, we teach them about how they shouldn't have to touch people in certain private parts or inappropriate parts. I would just want to expand that.
Saying many states doesn't really mean anything to me.
Here, I can tell you exactly how many, if that would be helpful.
And there are probably states like California, New York, Maryland.
Okay, and guess what?
Well, I don't really care about states. I don't really care about states like California that allow.
Well, do you care about child victims? Because states that have taught it have had more people.
Saanvi, do not special plead to me.
That is the reason why we should do this. Is to protect victims.
Do not.
That's
go
not
down the route of special pleading with me.
That's not special pleading. This
Bro,
would
you are
child
you are
victims.
you are trying to create an emotional appeal.
What am I special pleading? What am I special pleading from?
Bro, if you don't care about child victims, dude,
that wouldn't be special pleading. That would, if anything, that would be a straw man. But what I'm saying though is that nobody should be against this, because in states that it's been done,
I'm against it because it is the parent's responsibility to teach it. No, because you're fucking wrong.
Okay, well, you're wrong. You're speaking from your emotions.
It seems like, when you switch to it seems like when you switch to pro-choice, you lost all of your morals.
I've always believed in this. As a child victim, I wish I would have known what I knew. I wish I would have known that
victim.
Consent.
Don't. But there is a line drawn between what an educator is charged with and what a parent responsibility is.
Cool. So have it be a pediatrician or social worker.
It is the parent's responsibility to teach areas in which the schools are not responsible for.
You can keep saying that, but again, states where this has been done, we've seen more effective results, been able to protect more children.
What states?
I will pull that up for you right now. Okay. Here is Say Yes to Consent Education. The states are the District of Columbia, Illinois, Colorado, Maryland, California, New Mexico. Okay, then there's more for the Me Too movement. Let me press it. And this is from the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists. ACOG specifically works in this.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
You got any red states on there?
Yeah, here. I can flip the camera if that would be helpful, but they teach the differences between good touch and bad touch and communication skills, K through 12. So essentially children could know when they're being exploited instead of having no understanding of it. Oh, yeah. So, and again, this is from Guttmacher. It's peer-reviewed. The American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists, like I said, very prominent in reproductive health care, things like that. They would know how to work in things like this.
Now, I'd have to look at it myself because, I'm not going to be able to read it from your camera.
Fine. You can look at it yourself whenever you have time.
What is that, 7 states?
Yeah, 7 states have it mandatory.
Okay. So, I'll look at it later.
Okay.
So, what other misinformation did you hear in this live?
That a heartbeat starts 4 to 6 days after conception. That brain death is not legal death.
Well, it's technically 21 days, but.
Yeah, so if you, that's what I said, 3 to 6 weeks, there are electrical pulses, but there are not 4 chambers with blood flowing through.
I mean, it's not 6 days, it's 21 days. But
as a heartbeat.
As far. Say again.
I wouldn't define electrical pulses being fired as a heartbeat, but if you to do that, feel free.
I mean, every other biologist does, but that's besides the point, Saanvi. What else?
Actually, it would be an embryologist. An embryologist clarify that.
Called a heartbeat.
Okay, yeah, blood pumping.
What you?
So.
Yeah, that's not present in a fetus until later. There's no papers.
It's called a heartbeat. So nice try.
Yeah,
Next.
but by your own logic, you just defined cardiac activity.
Cardiac activity is a heartbeat.
Not present in a fetus till later.
It's okay. I know. It's hard to be smart. Next.
Yeah, you wouldn't know.
Hands in here.
Love you guys in the comments. But anyways, can I talk to you about your position if you wouldn't mind answering a couple questions?
Okay.
Okay. Why do rights begin at conception?
Because at the moment of conception, an individual life is formed, and that's the moment I believe natural rights are given.
What's an individual life?
You know the definition of an individual life, Saanvi.
Please define it for me the way you're using it.
An individual life, a new unique form of DNA, a whole blueprint of this new individual's life and
DNA
development stages.
What gives rights? Unique human DNA gives you rights.
Yes, once this unique individual human life is formed, it has natural rights.
Cool. So, identical twins with the same genetic code, are they two people or one?
They're two people.
How would you differentiate if it's the exact same human unique? Okay.
This is such a reach.
Are they both individual human lives?
Are they individual? Because by your logic,
they might have. No. You're stretched. So you're stretching here, Saanvi. Are they both individual human lives?
By your logic, no. By my logic, they're two people. But by your logic, you got to say it's one because unique human DNA.
You're nitpicking, is what you're doing. So
no, it's called testing logical consistency.
No, you're not testing any
logical consistency. Doing it.
You are nitpicking. See, this is a problem with pro-choicers. They don't have any leg to stand on, so they try to nitpick every little word you use. So go on.
It's well known that identical twins are not the same person. So they have different personalities, different traits, different aspects of things they're good at. They're not the same people. This is such a reach.
I agree.
Saanvi, you used to win debates when you were pro-life, but now as pro-choice, it's just kind of upsetting.
Really? Because I think the majority of people would disagree. But as I was saying,
just because you have fans,
the moment you TikTok and came in here,
insulting me,
just because you have fans that enjoy killing babies, that doesn't mean what they're agreeing to is right.
Yeah. Anyways, me and the homie's gonna go kill some babies after this. But hush, if you keep insulting me, I know you lost.
Denver.
Top guess.
Like, hey, Saanvi, how many abortions have you had?
How many abortions have I had?
Uh-huh.
As many as pisses you off. 24. Now, as I was saying to you, you just described human consciousness, personalities, etc., as differentiating them. And I agree with that. But it's not unique DNA that differentiates them, correct? Because, they're from the same exact sex cells.
It's different from the mother. It is.
Are they individual lives, Saanvi?
No, ma'am. They're actually from the exact same sperm and the exact same egg.
Are they individual lives? Are they separate from the mother?
I would say once they're conscious, yes, but you would say no, because they have the same DNA.
They do not have the same DNA as the mother.
No,
that's why when you do a DNA test, you'll see that one is a mother and one is a child because they have distinct differences.
As each other, identical twins from the same sex cells could have possibly the same DNA as each other.
Possibly the same DNA. It's not
right. So in the case that
possibly.
they do, How in the case
that they do. So
would you consider them two people?
I don't like I do not like the potentiality cases. So
would you consider them two people or one?
They are individual of each other.
So human DNA doesn't individuate us and give us rights then, correct?
I said they are so from the moment of conception, a new individual life is formed. And once that life is formed, they have natural rights.
Yeah, so I'm going to go down premise by premise just for the audience and for you. 1, you said human life, unique conception, cool. I asked you what individual meant. You said it's individual because of its unique DNA. I gave you an example where DNA is not necessarily unique.
Are they? Can you provide an example where they are completely the same by DNA?
Once I provide this,
completely.
Will you concede the point? Once I provide you the study, will you concede the point?
I'd have to look at the study, so no.
100%. And once I show you researchers that found identical DNA code, you will concede this point. Be good faith,
Nope.
right?
No, because this doesn't prove me wrong.
But
They're still
just because
individual.
they begin genetically the same doesn't mean that they remain genetically the same.
Here's an
and again to the comments. I haven't said shit, but quite frankly, be fucking respectful, or you will be booted.
I mean, I think the comments are more respectful than the guests are.
No,
but that's just my opinion.
You're too busy looking at your computer and not at the comments. So
That's because she's got to look up questionnaires to ask us questions to try and do a gotcha.
Girly, if you want me to debate you with my eyes closed, I'd be happy to. Just let me know. Anyways, here are the studies that found the exact same monozygotic twins. That's what they're called. Sorry. Monozygotic twins. And I would be happy to send you any of these at any point. They've actually found about 300 pairs. So how would you differentiate them as two people and not one?
Are they two individual people?
Not according to you.
They are according to me. They're two individual lives. They may share the same DNA, but they're still two individual lives.
So what does individual mean then? I'm going to ask you again.
Singular.
Singular. How do you define it as singular?
It is a singular life.
Based on what makes a human life
Get to your next point, Saanvi.
What makes a human life singular?
Get to your next life. Get to your next point, Saanvi.
Okay, I'll take that you conceded this.
No, I haven't conceded anything. You're playing semantics. It is a single life. Even if they are twins, they are both individual of each other. Their DNA is individual of the mother. So
but
once that life is formed, they are. I just said, even if their DNA is the same, as you described, they are still individual of each other. They're individual of the mother, and they both have natural rights from the moment of conception. Based on the 96% of scientists around the world that cite that life begins at conception.
That's not even what we're talking about. I'm agreeing that life begins at conception. You're saying what makes us individual. Let me finish. I let you talk. What makes us individual?
Is it a single life? Is it a single life, Saanvi?
I gave you an example.
Is it a life?
No,
Saanvi, is it a life?
I gave you an example.
Is it a life?
Being the exact same, and you can't differentiate them.
Saanvi, is it a life?
Why are you interrupting me? I gave
because you're annoying. Is it a life?
I gave you the opportunity to ask me questions.
No. You are playing word. You are nitpicking. Silence. Is it a life or not?
Of course, it's cellular life.
You don't need that on.
Cellular life. What species is
human? Homo sapien.
Okay, so it is a human life.
Yeah, spermatosis is classified as Homo sapien too. I got you.
It is a human life that is individual of the mother.
So is sperm.
No, it is not, and you know better.
Sperm.
You do know better. You are. So this is the reason that nobody likes debating you, because that is disingenuous.
Oh, here, study number 2.
Oh, be careful. She's going to ask you to define disingenuous.
Right. Human.
It's got a picture of Saanvi's face next to it. So
spermatoza.
That's what I said.
Spermatoza.
Okay.
Human.
What DNA is in the spermatoza?
Every single sperm has unique genetic material. Did you know that?
Unique genetic material. Where's it derived from?
The father.
Okay. Now, we're talking about a individual human life that is separate from the mother and the father.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't have that without the sperm and the egg. Therefore, sperm, you cannot say that that's a life. It's not.
It is.
And hey, Saanvi, does sperm develop past anything? Does sperm develop into anything other than a sperm?
On its own?
On its own.
No. Neither does a zygote
Okay.
or.
So there you go. And how long is a zygote a zygote?
I think it depends per
12
pregnancy.
hours.
About 3 to 5 to implant.
12 days, or 12 hours, excuse me. 12 hours, and then it implants. Then it becomes an embryo.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So.
Actually, I just looked it up and it said it can take actually up to 5 days. But yeah, okay, sorry. Go ahead.
Sure. Whatever citation or whatever study
6
you're
to 12
looking at.
days. The usual. Okay, go ahead.
You're asking me what I believe, basically. Is it an individual life?
Not according to you.
I just said it was according to me. DNA is one of the things. So if we're talking about a singular life form, if we're talking about a singular life form in the womb, so it is individual of the mother. It's got its own unique DNA. If we're talking about twins, both twins are individual from the mother. They both have the same DNA.
How are they
both reported the same rights. So, dude, you fucking suck at this.
How are they individual of each other? Twin X and twin Y. Let's just call them that, right?
Are they?
Can I finish? They're monozygotic.
Are they individual lives, Saanvi? They're individual of each other, correct?
Not according to
you. Do you have any other points?
Again, I'm going to dumb it down because I would argue they're two
individuals. You can't dumb down anything.
I would argue they're two individuals because they both have two unique subjective experiences. The problem is you can't do that.
Would you say subject experiences?
Can I finish? The problem is you can't do that because your qualifier was DNA, and I just told you that they have the exact same DNA because they're monozygotic.
That does not discredit my point, though.
It does.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't at all.
You have to say they're one person, not two.
No, they're still two people.
You have no means of differentiating.
You have no means of substantiating your point.
You're just saying it back to me, but not saying anything. How do you differentiate?
You haven't said anything. You're nitpicking.
How do you differentiate between identical monozygotic twins if it's not DNA?
Do they have the same fingerprints?
Why are you so hung up on twins? Is that
Saanvi, do they have the same fingerprints?
It destroys the DNA argument.
They're not 100% identical.
You're right, because they're from touching around the womb. They're not from DNA.
So the twins are not 100% identical. Their fingerprints don't even match up.
Their DNA is.
They are not. They are not completely identical. Even
their DNA.
Even if you their DNA is not even 100% identical.
Protein structures are identical.
Their DNA is at best 99% identical.
Hold up, stop. So, you're special pleading and changing from DNA to fingerprints.
No, you just fucking suck at this, Saanvi.
See, you have to insult me when you lose.
No, I'm not insulting you. I'm just saying you're not as smart as you think.
Yikes. Then what are you?
I'm on the side of life, so I'm obviously in a better position than you.
Fingerprints are formed by people touching around the womb, like that. They're not DNA. So are you changing your argument from DNA to fingerprints?
No, you said they're 100% identical.
I said their DNA is identical.
No, you said they're 100% identical.
In terms of their DNA, they are. They are.
You didn't differentiate. And even their DNA is not 100% identical. At best, it's 99.
I just showed you monozygotic.
I don't care about your study. I'll look at it later.
They literally found 300 cases of this.
300 cases.
Yes. They analyzed like over 10,000 twins, and they found cases of this because they exist. Bye-bye, comments. I miss you.
I'm just trying to have a smoke.
Where'd the comments go?
Devin, turn them off.
Y'all will be.
Good job, Devin.
No, I didn't. I'm having a smoke. I actually didn't. I'm having a smoke.
And they're back.
Again, here, I'll even keep my thumb in the camera. Like.
So do you have any other stances of why you're pro-choice now? What moved you to pro-choice?
Yeah, that's kind of what I touched on earlier. Embryology and neuroscience and logic about
there is no logic in pro-choice.
That embryology backs up pro-life, so that doesn't even make sense. Science backs up pro-life, so that doesn't make sense. Logic backs up pro-life. That doesn't make sense.
But quite frankly, if the comments aren't going to be respectful, I will just turn them off myself.
You guys can stop blaming me for turning them off, because I most certainly didn't. I don't even know how to do that.
Well, here, how about host turns them off then? And then we deal with that problem and let the people in the box actually discuss.
Professor,
problem solved.
Would you agree with the consensus that brain death is death?
Yes.
Other guests, you as well?
Yes.
I mean, you can't come back from being brain dead, so sure.
Okay, I'm curious where this is going to go.
Cool.
I know where it's going.
If y'all are defining the permanent loss of cognition as death, shouldn't, conversely, to be consistent, the emergence of life be cognition? The start of it?
Because you're not pronounced dead until your heart stops beating.
So brain death, right? So
brain death is a death
from
sentence.
The moment of conception, you're in a continuous state of development. So
hold on. Yeah, so a person that's brain dead is legally confirmed as dead, even if their heart is still beating.
When does brain development begin?
It depends on how you're going to define brain development.
When do the first signs of brain development?
Neurons, axodendric neurons, start firing at like 5 or 6, but thalamocortical radiations don't develop till 24.
So if we have it at early as the earliest signs of brain development as early as 5 weeks, right? Mm-hmm. You can't really equate that to brain death.
I can though, because
you can't, because it's in a stage of development.
Still have synapses firing in their brain. You know that? Fun fact.
If left to their natural processes, does this life form's brain continue to develop?
Okay, yeah, so if you're saying that neurons firing is brain activity, then you would have to consider what we consider brain dead people alive, because we still pull the plug even if there's neurons firing. Because that's different from actual thalamocortical radiation, which again aren't present until week 24.
What's the differentiating factor between brain loss and brain development?
Brain loss?
Yeah,
its potential would
death, loss. What's the differentiating factor?
Potential, future,
capacity.
Sure, we could say that if you want. Why would capacity matter?
Is there any capacity in brain death?
Oh no.
Okay. Is there capacity and development?
Sure. Why should I care about potential?
There we go.
Why does potential matter? You have to substantiate that.
Is there potential after death?
Depends what you believe, but I would say no.
Okay. Is there potential in development?
Yeah, there's potential in a sperm.
Okay.
There's potential
There
in
you go.
egg.
There is no potential development in sperm past the sperm.
There is. There is. It just needs to meet with.
If left to its natural, if left on its own, does a sperm turn into anything other than a sperm?
Nope. Neither does a zygote.
Okay.
If left to its own, an embryo does not turn into anything.
If left in utero, or if left to its natural processes, a zygote does not attach to the uterine wall to become an embryo.
If left in utero, it does. Just like if you
what's the natural process?
Just like if you put a
from the formation of the zygote, what's the natural process?
I'm not going to a naturalistic fallacy, but I will say this: if you
because you lose every time you refer back to the natural process.
Because it's a naturalistic fallacy. But if you put a sperm and an egg next to each other in a petri dish, do they individually have rights?
Say again? I didn't hear you. What?
And an egg next to each other in a petri dish, do they have rights?
And I'm sorry, but did you say it was a fallacy?
A naturalistic fallacy, yeah.
A naturalistic fallacy. I swear, you pro-choicers can equate anything to a fallacy. It's a naturalistic fallacy.
Is not an individual.
Pretty soon, you guys are going to be saying it's a scientific fallacy.
Sperm by itself is not an individual life. In order for life to begin, the sperm and the egg have to meet. I mean, you're sitting here talking about wanting sex ed in K through 12, and you don't even know the birds and the bees.
100% I do, but what you're saying is incorrect, because a sperm is alive, an egg is alive, and a zygote is alive. What I'm asking you to do
is it a human life?
Well, yeah, what other species would it be? But what I'm asking you to
is it a individual human life that has separate DNA from the mother and father?
You'd have to define individual for me.
And you can't do individual life from the moment of conception.
You cannot define it. You said DNA. I addressed the time where that's not. What else?
Dude, even the twins that you're citing aren't 100% identical.
Monozygotic twins are, and they found cases.
They are not 100% identical.
Okay, if you want to say that, we can just say in the womb, when they first split via mitosis, they would literally be identical.
Are they one being, or are they two?
I would say two, but I guess you got to say one.
No, they are two, because they are twins. That's what twins means. They mean two.
Well, then maybe you should pick a different standard besides DNA.
Maybe you should pick pro-life and stop killing babies.
Great argument. You converted hella bitches in the comments from that.
I mean, if you want to call your supporters bitches, by all means.
Of course. I love my bitches. They know.
Yes, you love them because they're so uneducated. Then they look up to you like you're some type of goddess, because you have this insane attitude where you think you're holier than thou and you know everything, and you don't.
Wrong button.
I really don't think I know everything. I'm open to having my mind changed, which is what I did. And I'm open to being humbled.
Yeah, I think what you did was you changed your mind to get more followers, to get more clout on TikTok, because you wanted to get more gifts. You're trying to get TikTok famous or whatever the hell it is that you're doing.
I don't post content. Also, I lost followers. And again, you cannot debate me without resorting to ad hominems, because you're not.
I'm not even debating you. I'm just telling you what I think of you.
Right. And your opinion,
and I really don't care.
Yeah, I don't expect you to, because it's hard and difficult to sit down and have a conversation with somebody without insulting them.
It's hard to have a conversation with someone who's completely disingenuous to go from being this pro-life proponent to then all of a sudden sitting here and saying, oh, I'm just going to sit here and I'm going to say that I'm pro-choice. Oh, I love my bitches. Let's go get 25 abortions. That is so absolutely asinine. It is absolutely ridiculous. You need to do better. quite frankly, I don't think you've ever had one. You're probably still a virgin who lives at home, and you're sitting here just trying to get attention.
That is embarrassing. Anyways,
why would that gifting matter? Anybody?
Not you. Why would that matter?
Well, are you mad because someone's gifting me, fucker?
No, I just thought it was funny because he's the host.
Yeah, I can do whatever I want. It is my life. Like, quite frankly, you came in here to debate me because
I'm pretty.
No, well, but quite frankly, you did come in here to debate somebody on my live, and everybody showed up. I'm allowing it to happen. Like,
you muted all my besties?
Quite frankly, they've all been saying disrespectful things.
You call them your besties, but you probably don't even know their names.
And I still maintain my ground and hold my composure.
But at the end of the day, they're still saying disrespectful things to other people, and including myself, because
you don't
several of those comments that I did mute were fucking attacking me. Therefore, of course, because I didn't set out. It's not like I had a background saying I wanted an abortion debate. You came in because you didn't like the person that was in the box. Quite frankly, that wasn't my fault.
Right, and it's not my fault that people are being mean to y'all in the comments, but also as a host,
they're your followers. You could have equally said, hey, smarten up.
Be nice, guys. But as I said, you don't have a problem with somebody coming on here and calling me a 12-year-old, calling me disingenuous, calling me a liar, calling me a
You don't have problems with your followers calling us names either.
Did I not? Did I not say be nice, guys?
Once, and guess what? Your followers aren't listening. And guess what? And if I said that...
They told you Saanvi doesn't control us. And I don't.
One person, and they were muted instantly for that.
Yeah. And I don't control them. And I told them to be nice. But whatever comes out of their mouth is on them.
Saanvi, what'd you say your stance was? 24 weeks?
Is when a fetus would have moral consideration.
So, when's viability?
I don't use viability, but around 24 is assumed viability.
Assumed viability.
I just have a question about the twins thing.
Sure.
Since you're so hung up on that. What is the percentage of twins that share both a single placenta and a single sac?
A single placenta and a single what?
And a single sac, without looking it up. Do you know?
Oh, I'm not sure, but I know the amount that are exactly identical is very rare, like 5%-ish.
So only 1% of identical twins share both a single placenta and a single sac. So considering that they're going to have separate sacs and or separate placentas, doesn't that show, along with, the basic definition of what twins is, that they are separate individuals?
Actually, I can just do this too.
Again, I consider twins two people. 100% I do. I'm saying the framework of DNA doesn't make sense.
They don't have the 100% same DNA.
There are cases where that can happen and have been shown to happen. People are walking this earth right now with the same DNA as somebody else.
They are not 100%.
Yes, they are 100% identical.
No, I bet if they were to actually look, it's like at best 99.
If you want to say they're not 100% identical now, they were 100% identical in the womb at the time that they split. And you have no means of differentiating them as two people with the right to life.
They are two people because they have separate DNA. They are not 100% the same.
In the womb, at the time when they split, their deoxyribose nucleic acid structure is identical.
Are women having abortions at the moment of the split?
I mean, it can split later in pregnancy.
Are women having abortions at 3 weeks or 6 weeks or 12 weeks?
12 weeks, for example. 100% people are having abortions at 12 weeks.
Okay. What's the earliest women are having abortions? 6 weeks?
I mean, I'm sure you came before that if you knew you were pregnant.
5 weeks, right?
Yeah.
we'll say 5 weeks because Ohio's got the 5-week heart bill, right? Or Ohio and Texas.
The
formed at 5 weeks. The twins are already separated. So, but let's focus on a singular life. Let's focus on a singular life. It is an individual life with its unique genetic code, right?
Yeah.
So before you, like, at the time you find out you're pregnant, it's already a fair bit along in its stages of development.
I mean, that's really as far as you need to go, Mike, because why DNA can be the same, genetic mutations can happen for each individual child in the womb. And the genetic mutations are individual to the individual.
For sure. Yeah. That's about 95% of them have genetic mutations. I think it's about 5% that end up being actually identical.
Anyway, you can't, like, we all agree that life begins at conception, and that's when I assign that's when I believe natural rights are,
What are natural rights?
Natural rights are the rights to the right to life, liberty, and property. So,
what does natural mean?
In your inherent your inherent rights. The rights that are universally recognized, that are naturally given, that are.
So natural rights are those that are not dependent on law.
There you go. That one.
Okay. Like y'all contradicting each other because Mike said.
No, I'm working out because I'm not really paying attention anymore.
Okay, well, I'll talk to the other guest then. So you said, what did you say, other guest?
Natural rights are those that are not dependent on law.
Okay, so where do they come from?
They're inalienable rights. You are just granted them for being alive.
Being alive.
Are you gonna try to attribute this to religion?
It's a little bit like circular because your position, and correct me if I'm wrong, is life begins at conception, natural rights begin at conception, right to life begins at conception. Is that fair?
Yes.
Okay, so then my question would be, why do you have natural rights at conception?
Because you are a unique individual that cannot be duplicated or replicated ever again. And you are a separate life from that of every other.
But you can be duplicated and replicated.
How can you be duplicated and replicated?
Cell division.
Is it an individual human life?
That can be duplicated and replicated.
How is the individual human life with its own unique genetic code, how can that be duplicated?
Because the same sperm and egg that are used to create that zygote can split.
So I have a question for you, Saanvi. Where do you stand on abortion survivors?
Abortion survivors, meaning people that are a failed abortion?
They survived the abortion, yes.
What's there to stand on?
I'm just wondering what your stance is. So they were aborted. Do you think that they should just be left laying there to die? Do you think they should be thrown in the trash? Do you think they should
after viability? Right, after viability.
It doesn't matter. Do you think that if a child is born and it survives the abortion, so it's born, it survives the abortion, do you think they are entitled to be treated as humans? Do you think they are entitled to receive medical care? Or do you think they should be discarded and thrown in biohazard waste?
Like I said, 24-ish weeks would be my cutoff with that. If you're talking about like a 6-week-old embryo that y'all call a child, yeah, I think you can throw that shit in the trash.
A 6-week-old is not going to survive an abortion.
Exactly, which is why
I said, let's be real.
24 weeks, I think they deserve some type of moral consideration.
What about 20 weeks?
20?
Holy shit.
Yes.
That wouldn't be possible.
What's the earliest child we've had?
21.
20 weeks,
And
5 days.
They actually ended up dying within the first
20 weeks, 5 days, and it lived.
And there's babies that survive abortion every year. While it is not a large percentage, it does happen.
21 weeks.
I would encourage you to go look up Gianna Jensen.
So we're gonna kill the babies that are born at 21 weeks?
Again, I don't know why an abortion would be happening at this point, but they'd be sentient, so I guess they have rights.
Say again?
They'd be sentient, so they would have rights, but these are, again, anomalies. And
they'd be sentient at 21 weeks?
Yeah, and unfortunately...
Not based off your logic. You said your logic based on 24 weeks.
24 is the general consensus.
But you based your entire stance on 24 weeks. So
yeah, because
are you going to change your stance to fit with?
There's outliers, which is why it should be left up to a doctor to determine that, because they would be able to tell if it's sentient or not based on how it's responding to stimuli.
Have you ever watched The Silent Scream?
I don't like that fucking movie.
Fuck that movie.
Yeah, have you ever watched it?
No.
So in it, do you know who Bernard Nathanson is?
Girl, I just said I ain't watch it. How would I know?
You don't.
Well, so if you're going to be pro-choice,
you used to be pro-life. You don't know who Bernard Nathanson is?
Bernard Nathanson was the champion OBGYN behind the passing of Roe v. Wade, behind abortion on demand. He performed over 70,000 abortions.
Oh, okay. So what's your thoughts on this dude?
Oh, he's cool now.
Well, he's dead now.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's why he's cool now.
He became pro-life because he went and he tried to perform an ultrasound abortion and saw the baby, who was 12 weeks, move away from the vacuum, which is demonstrated in The Silent Scream.
A 12-week fetus moving away from a suction tube.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sorry if you're trying to appeal to emotions, but
no,
the central
it's definitely an interesting. It's definitely
not an appeal to an emotion. You're trying to say that babies don't have sentience, basically implying that they can't think for themselves, they can't feel fear, they can't feel pain, and they can feel all of these things.
Can I finish? The central nervous system at 12 weeks is not yet connected to a developed prefrontal cortex. What you are witnessing are nocioreceptors and muscle reflexes. So even though that may be emotional to you, it is not actually any type of sentience.
I mean, you can keep citing all this stuff, but I encourage you to go watch it. I mean, if you're going to be the new champion of pro-choice, you should probably know who started it. You should probably also know that it had nothing to do with men or women. It was just men that wanted to make money.
Well, I might be pro-choice for different reasons than other people are pro-choice, you know.
Like what?
I mean, you still should know who Bernard Nathanson is.
Yeah, maybe if it's not too scary, maybe I'll look into it.
No, I mean just his background.
If you're supporting abortion, you should be able to stomach watching it, right?
I guess. I mean, I've witnessed scientific.
No, it's not that.
No, I'm not talking about a cartoon or diagrams. I'm talking about the actual thing.
No. It's not that. You should know the history of Roe v. Wade. Hold on, you should know the history.
I'm sorry, Mike, but these fucking comments are hilarious. Is the host pro-life or pro-choice? It doesn't matter what I am. My life is
the host
hijacked. Look at the title of the live.
Feel flutter in here.
Like I said,
Afternoon hangouts.
I don't agree with like Roe. I think it should be abortion rights should be codified through Congress. So that's what I would personally advocate for.
Okay.
Like it was great.
You don't agree it should be, so you don't agree that each state should have its own thing?
What?
You don't agree that it should be left up to the states?
No, I think it should be codified through Congress.
And I mean, they tried that already.
Right, and the WHPA failed.
They had 50 years to codify it.
Right, and they didn't, so I think they should. So we should advocate for that.
Are you
There is a fucking.
are you advocating for that?
Absolutely. That's what I support.
Hmm.
Anyways,
Well, the problem with
now
these
today.
debates is they tend to be circular. So if you don't have
Okay,
anything else, by all means.
Well, that's kind of all I had to say. If you have any
Awesome.
other questions, feel free to let me know. Chat, I love you as usual. But thank you for having me host.
Go have fun. Go enjoy killing babies.
It doesn't matter if I'm pro-choice or pro-life, considering the fact that my life was literally hijacked, and the fact I was muting people, same with my mods. Because at the end of the day, if you can't be respectful,
so Saanvi can't slay anything. She had to play word games. She had to play semantics. She had to nitpick in order
She
to
had to live in
substantiate
front of
her.
her computer.
Yep.
So I'm in my garage. I don't have time to look up anything. So the fact that I'm going off of memory and she has to be in front of a keyboard just shows you that she's a poor debater. So nice try. And all you commenters, I invite you to my live later on tonight. You could try your luck with me, but you're probably gonna lose, just like Saanvi just lost.
Yeah.
You automatically lose when you start targeting unborn life.
Saanvi just tries to play word salad, and she thinks that it impresses all of these people that literally have no idea what they're talking about.
No twins exactly identical.
Yeah,
Even by DNA. Saanvi
and they're
definitely
so impressed by her because she uses words that they don't comprehend. And she's backing up what they think is right, so therefore they do it. They're probably all
Devin.
very, very young.
Shelly, just click the box. Click the box on the side.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can define disingenuous, guys. It's Saanvi.
No. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about those comments. They'll eventually leave because they all just.
Well, the only other thing I'm going to say to the idiots in the comments is
Devin,
my name is spelled correctly.
Click on the last Shelly.
Contractor wanted in for a sec.
Oh, sorry.
My name is spelled correctly, you guys. It is Latin. Maybe you should broaden your horizons just a little bit.
Requests are off. Requests are off. I set requests to only followers. It's been that way for a long time.
So there's my friend Shelly's in here. Devin.
Yeah, I'll get her.
Saanvi can't eat nothing. She loses every debate she's a part of. Ever since she switched to pro-choice, she used to be awesome as pro-life. It's so sad. Someone so young and so intelligent has to bend her morals in order to be popular.
Yeah, it's clout chasing at its finest, 100%. And I told her that. Because I'm not going to say anything about someone that's not here that I wouldn't say to them while they are here. But when you sit here and say that you're going to come for 5 and 6-year-olds and that they need to have sex ed, no,
because quite frankly, Contractor was gifting. Contractor made up.
Thank you.
What's going on, man?
Hey,
Contractor.
I exchanged I exchanged like a few days ago from all my gifts, so that's all the shit that other people has gifted. But I just did that because I knew they were gonna fucking just start gifting like crazy. So waste your money. It's not. I didn't waste my money.
Well, awesome. Thank you.
No, dude, that's why I was sitting there laughing.
Yeah, I would never gift that much. Like I ain't stupid.
That's why I let you in while I'm waiting for Mike's friend.
She scrolled up a little bit.
Godic twins.
Be the last Shelly. That'll be the one.
So let me flip the. Well,
Okay.
you guys can't see it, but basically on Science Direct, it says even with what she was saying about the twins, there is differences.
Yeah, I already knew that.
So yeah, it's absolutely pointless to argue that shit.
She has to create the most extreme circumstance in order to justify her point. And even the DNA is not 100%.
Yeah.
Oh, exactly. So, but I'll jump
I
out.
still
I
don't
know.
see a.
I know
Is
other
it?
people.
She's in
I
here.
got you.
The last
I
Shelly.
yeah.
All
I
right.
see. I see her now. Yeah, we're good. Sorry, contractor. I'll let you back in once we're done here, buddy. I'm sure I'll see you later. Sorry, I thought you meant the last Shelly in the queue. My bad.
Hey, Shelly.
Hey guys. Okay, so I was like trying to join, but it wouldn't let me. So all she was doing was using an appeal raging pro-choicer, and then one of the reasons I actually became pro-life was after studying the human brain. Um, so I feel like I was getting so frustrated. I was texting you the entire time.
She's twisting the information to fit her narrative.
Yes,
So
exactly.
here's the thing. You can
But
have
that's quite subjective.
pro-choicers that become educated on actual factual science and become pro-life. There is no such thing as a pro-life person who becomes pro-choice. It doesn't
There
exist.
is.
It does not
I will
happen.
say there. I will say there is, but that just becomes a difference in morality. Like at some point, you have to acknowledge that not everybody's gonna share that same moral compass than you do. Like some people are just okay with unaliving individuals.
Yeah. Goodbye,
They
Four
don't.
Eyes is right because you're fucking gone. Fucking
I have
idiot.
no problem aborting the
Sorry.
chat.
Like some people just don't value human life. I've seen that before. But you can't say you value. I personally don't think that you can say that you value human life and be pro-choice.
Look at you, little glasses.
Actually, no. More and more current data and research is
Wow,
showing
look at
that.
this. Hold on, I'm going to take a screenshot of this. Smile, everyone. I'm getting an abortion tomorrow. Wow, that's like a flex. That's disgusting.
It's not.
Well, the funny thing is they're so impatient too because Shelly's in here and they don't want to wait their turn to come in and talk to Mike and get Mike and Infamous and get destroyed. So they're running away because they see the viewers leaving. They want to get those followers.
Yeah, it's clout chasing. That's what it is.
Look at what a great life I had as an embryo. What about human life is intrinsically valuable? Conscious experience.
Yeah, that was like.
Maybe conscious experience, but conscious experience is extremely relative, and that really depends on what you're talking about. Most of the time, what most people describe as consciousness doesn't even begin to happen until baby's like, at the very least, 8 months. At the very least, 8 months. If you're talking about
Like
a
I
reaction
said,
if you're talking
So
about a reaction to stimulus, I would
here's
say a
my
few weeks.
question. All of these people in the comments, and I bring up the girl that bragged that she was getting an abortion tomorrow. Why is it you guys are sitting here applauding her, saying, "I'm so proud of you. Get that abortion. Good job, Buttercup." But
Oh, now
so you're
she's
going to do that.
Savani's sharing the live now.
You're going to do that, but why wouldn't you instead offer her help or counseling or other solutions?
they're just
Why is it
comments.
always just,
They don't
"Oh,
like that.
great job. Yeet that baby." But screw helping her, screw
You know,
asking why she feels like she needs to do that, screw getting to the actual root cause, right? Like you guys are not pro woman at all. You are
you
simply
ever
pro abortion.
you ever hear how women call abortions like it's part of the feminist movement, and I'm over here still trying to figure out how they equate that. Like, what most of the men who are encouraging abortions are doing so for the continuation of hookup culture, right?
Yep.
They're not valuing women, and they're not valuing their body, and they're not valuing that life either. So, in what way or form is an abortion, or even men who support it for the sake of hookup culture, like in what way is that feminism? I feel like we fought our way out of being objectified, and now we're like circling back to it 20 years later.
There we go, Samantha. I'll help pay for her pregnancy. That's someone that's pro-woman.
Yeah.
Well,
and it's okay.
Well,
you're gonna say
Saanvi used to be awesome as when she was on pro-life side.
I was gonna ask.
The problem with
like
pro-choicers, especially when they have the education that she does, she has to manipulate the data in order to fit her narrative.
It wasn't even I mean, it was. I guess it was. I guess I could call it manipulation. It was just.
She just thinks that she can come in here and stomp all of us because she knows where we stand.
No, she was banking on the fact. One, she was appealing to authority, of course, and two, she was banking on the fact that you guys wouldn't know like small details, because she would have the field advantage of, this is what she's studying, right? So she basically knew. She basically was just confident in what she was saying, but a lot of what she was saying was either outdated or just not true, and she knew no one was going to call her out on her bullshit.
Yeah, I couldn't see any of your text messages, by the way.
You didn't?
Yeah.
No.
Contractor was texting me, and I couldn't see his text messages either.
I would see your message, but I was like near my my lat pull down doing like abs because I wasn't really paying attention to what she was saying.
So I was trying to send you like studies that I could like find first, because some studies that I found that would just prove her wrong. Her example was wrong, and those are also just exceptions. And she was using exceptions to try and justify like abortion as a whole, basically.
Yeah. So Max 5212 said, "Are you going to point that person in the direction of resources,
waiting, but there are people
or just
ahead
use?"
of you.
Yeah. So they said, "Are you going to point that person in the direction of resources, or just use it as a tool to shit talk?" Okay, so if you go to www.loveline.com,